Let's give a huge, huge round of applause for Dan and Hilary. Come on up. Thank you. Okay, we can sit down now. Okay, guys, that was fun. It was fun, right? It was fun. There's a lot of laughter, which is great. Okay, this is an important QR code. If you have questions, you can scan this thing, and I get the questions here, which is very helpful. I can also raise a hand at the end, so get your questions thinking. Guys, that was a bit of a wild trip. You decided to film yourself to make a film. That's quite scary, isn't it? How did it feel to decide to film yourselves and then create this?
Oh, gosh, that's a good question. I mean, I think this is the third film that we've made, and each one we've learned a bit more about filmmaking as we've gone along. And I think the first one that we did was the Vodka Empire, which is like years ago now. And we worked with Christo Hurd, who I hope is in the audience, and had literally no idea what we were doing at all, did we? In fact, we had a very small amount. We knew to use a video camera, and
well done.
We wanted to be in. Well, we didn't know if we wanted to be in the film or not.
But you were in the film. Like, you've always been in the films.
Yeah.
But slowly I've crept into the film.
Yeah. But it's good that you've crept in. Really good. But I think.
You sure about that, Dan?
I remember being in Ukraine basically with Hilary, and. Every night we'd be filming in these. I shouldn't be talking about Vodka Empire so much. I know it's a different film now.
Let's
Sorry
focus down.
But every night we were in Ukraine, we were looking back at what we'd filmed that day, and I'd be going, "No, you must keep focusing that direction on the character or whatever." Anyway, so you're asking me a weird question about how to make a film. Well, I felt that it was. So I'm trying to talk about the trajectory of our filmmaking learnings. Sorry about that.
It's all good. So we'll move on to the next one, Dan. It was a great start.
Probably very good idea, Sarah.
What I love about this is we wanted to let the credits roll the whole way through, because you have a huge number of people that had to come behind you and get behind you make this film. And I don't know if anyone else has seen a credits list that long of thanks to the community going through. It's a huge amount of humans you had to get around you. That first day, you had to go and knock on a door and be like, "Hi, I'm Dan, salesman." Take me back to that first moment where you were like, "Are we actually doing this?" And you go to the front door. Did the first person say yes? Did they smile at you? Were they freaked out about it? What was that first day like? Because you ended up getting thousands, but day one, did anyone like you?
Well, it started more on WhatsApp, didn't it, Hill, when we came out with the concept?
In lockdown. But I think it is that thing where we had done bank jobs, so people kind of knew we could pull off things. So we didn't, I don't know, I think sometimes it's better to come up with a really bold plan and just go for it rather than tiptoe around. And because really we should have started with sunflowers and built up, but we just went straight in for the bigger goal. But I think actually everyone wants to dream big and join in and meet each, particularly after lockdown, everyone just wanted an excuse to get together, I think.
When we first put it on the WhatsApp group, we were like, because it's usually what the WhatsApp group during the COVID was like, can anyone pick me up some carrots or something? Or has anyone got a chair I could borrow? Or I don't know, whatever, things like that. And then I put on the WhatsApp group, does anyone want free solar panels? And that was like a real conversation killer. Literally, then no one replied for hours. And then Natalie, who's one of the editors, who's here in the audience and filmmakers.
Where's Natalie?
Who really helped make the entire film.
Editor of the film?
Somewhere, I'm not sure where Natalie is. Somewhere nearby. Where is she?
She's over there.
Is she? Okay. Anyway, Natalie was like, yeah, I'm into this. And she started really championing it and putting energy into that. And then other people were like, okay, these people are, there's more than two of them or more than one of them. So then it became, and then we formed that little street group that would go up and down knocking on the door, everyone's doors every Saturday. Mm-hmm. And it was, it's a real fear, I think, for both Hilary and me. We're happy to make films where we look completely absurd and, do silly things. But knocking on doors, I think, is more terrifying than any of those things. Do you agree, Hilary?
Yeah, and making such a like durational project and film literally on your doorstep. Like, although we love that quote, the drama is on your doorstep, it's like sometimes you're like, oh my God, because the pressures then of making promises and wanting things to happen and then just feeling like you're letting people down. You know, it's just quite intense when you can't escape from your street.
They can see you every morning on the walk to school.
Yeah,
You're demanded of it.
Yeah.
Quick poll. Who else had a funny COVID WhatsApp group with their street? Hands up. About half the room. Who still chats in that WhatsApp group? So I find this really interesting because during COVID, you had that like sense of community that was needed. And what you guys did was kept on that community feeling a long time. Because it's not just, as you say, about solar panels. It was the solar panels. It was getting to know your neighbours. It was elsewhere. So nearly half of this room here just said, yep, I was in some kind of community WhatsApp chat. But most of us have not kept it up. And there's something really interesting in that. Why was it important that it wasn't just about, let's put a solar panel on? Why was it more than that for you?
Oh, you're looking at me for that one. Well, I mean, this is, in the previous film, Bank Job, we learned that there was a sort of encoded inequality within the financial sector, if you like, and the way that banks create money leads to climate catastrophes. So this film was already in our minds, like we wanted to design a film that could dramatically connect those two things together. So when we set up this project, it wasn't really about like a nice, warm, fluffy neighbourhood WhatsApp group. It was much more anarchic. We wanted to actually change. We wanted to draw people's attention to these invisible forces, that don't often get seen, because they are invisible. So we wanted to create a drama around that. That was how we began to think about it. And the COVID coming along was just time and, the reality that we were in. So the first idea for this was, can we take Walthamstow off the grid? That was the first concept. But then as a filmmaker, you have to do things that seem plausible, and that seemed completely implausible and nonsensical and crazy. So we wanted to be just the right level of crazy, in a way. So the street became a unit where you could just about, with some difficulty, etc., set yourself the challenge, and then see what was possible. So the WhatsApp group became a conduit, if you like, a method for communicating with the people around us, one method. There was also obviously just knocking on people's doors, hanging out at the school gate, and I don't know, singing with them, growing flowers with them. Sorry, it's your turn to talk.
No, I don't want to.
But it is, because I think that's what really comes through from what you contribute to the film, Hilary, is it's the community art element of it that you like bring it back to quite a lot, that there's such a beauty in seeing all those sunflowers on the street. That's like a vision that you have, and it literally takes every person in the community to like create that together. There's a really amazing like communal element of it. Is that Did the sunflower moment like appear as you'd hoped and you'd visioned it? Like, was it everything you like felt was going to be there when you got there?
Yeah, because I drew that picture in February when everything felt a bit desperate. And yeah, it was amazing seeing it come to life. And there was always this story that I liked when I was little, like The Magic Paintbrush. Did you read that? It's a Ladybird book, but everything this little boy drew, he couldn't quite finish the picture, because if he did finish his picture, it would just come to life and birds would fly off the page. And that stayed with me, that if you draw something, and always like the act of drawing and kind of creating that first template to invite people into imagining some different possibilities is what, I suppose, that one day of sunflowers was like that too. It was another drawing of possibility, because it was just one day and then all the cars came back. But can we imagine, that beyond that, what our streets can be? So yeah.
I think that imagination is so really key, because when you first described the plan, there was a lot of laughter in the room, because it is quite absurd. Let's do this. And everyone's like, are they going to do it? It's a bit crazy. And then you do it. It's like you sort of need these absurd, quite crazy ideas, and then you need the conviction when the going gets tough. You keep going, and then it kind of makes it happen. And bringing in the school element was a really, I thought that was a really powerful moment where it's like, oh, we can do this for the school as well, and it's there. Talk us through a little bit about what Solar for Schools is and kind of how you got the school involved in that process, because that's a whole extra layer to just the street. You then got to work with the school as well.
It came out of the problem of how difficult it was just to do the street. Like, the street was the original vision, and when we started looking at like other civic buildings like schools, which is a more sort of conventional community energy model, a lot of people were like, oh, you guys are getting scope creep and stuff like that. But it was actually born from the desperation of actually seeing a solar panel at some point appear, and it seemed simpler to do it on the school. So we started to develop this idea that, you know, we'd heard that there was 3 or 4 schools interested in solar in the borough, but it had all stalled. So we started thinking, let's do something on Barncroft, because we'd worked with them again in Bank Job. We worked with them, didn't we? So we had a good relationship, and both our children were at the school as well.
Hi, kids.
Yeah. And we really wanted to stick it to the government as well, because it was outrageous that the school was having to go into debt. It just seemed absurd, and they were losing teachers, and this kind of like very negative spiral where things which were, you know, intrinsically important to the welfare of the next generation were having their budgets cut. You know, so it was a bit of outrage as well. So it's a mixture of all those things, but part of the mixture was we reckon that we can do this quicker. Then, of course, the local council got involved and stuck their oar in and tried to stop it all. But I think we've done, like, with Solar for Schools, who may or may not be in the building. I'm not sure if there isn't. Is there anyone?
Woo-woo!
There is. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Solar for Schools. Up there? Okay, I'm terrible. I can't. The lights are so bright. There is someone from Solar for Schools in the building. Okay, they are brilliant. Like, and what I love about Solar for Schools is the clarity of the offer. You know, really, it's solar for schools. They know what they're doing. Don't ask them to put it on, you know, a bank, or don't ask them to stick it down a canal. But if you want it on a school, so there was that. I think I emailed Solar for Schools, and they rang back like in 10 minutes. And Anne, who's one of the directors, was like, "Yes, let's do this." And so it was like, it felt really simple and possible. And they've been brilliant. I think they've done 4 or 5 schools now in the borough with, you know, we've helped, but we only helped raise the money on the first one. Mm-hmm. Then we had crowdfunding fatigue after that. We had to stop for a bit.
Have a little break.
Yeah.
No way. And what was lovely at the end, Hilary, is you had a lovely map of places across the country that you may or may have not known where they were, of people who wanted to get involved. So what's happening now? Like, have you got other streets that want to do the madness that you just did? Like, what's the process? Where are we at today with other streets becoming a power station?
I think, we shared everything from the beginning, our process and all of our trials and tribulations, and that to create a way of linking with people across the country. But then we put a specific call out last year saying who would like to kind of be a power station. So that was 50 streets around the country. But obviously there's lots of barriers to action in this way. But we've been working on the kind of impact campaign around this, is the plan that every street a power station, and what does that demand and the practical steps towards that look like. So we've been working with you, Together Films and Nesta, on creating a how-to, not a how-to step by step, because it's adapted. Obviously, this is going on already across the country in so many places in amazing ways, and I often feel like we've achieved not much really compared to all of these amazing community energy models, but we've just told a story and created a vision around it that can be contagious. So we want it to be kind of spreading out and sharing all our learnings and resources. And so it's not just inspiring, it's actually now there are practical steps to take on your journey in your community to do the same things. And it is just about people power, and it is more kind of political and poetic than just around the technological part. It's really about what kind of world we want to live in together.
Yeah, And a big part of when you first introduced the concept and like the power is both the physical power but also the community power kind of coming together. I'm going to do another quick poll. Hands up if you know the names of more than 2 of your neighbours in your own street. Oh, okay, the north is great. Hands up if you know more than 10 of your neighbours. Oh, the north. Okay, you're winning. If you did this in London, it would be like, nah, mate. In like other places outside of their street. Hands up if you know the whole street. Okay, we do have normal humans, okay, in the room. Next poll, hands up if you have solar power on your house. Oh, guys, you're like winning at this poll. Hands up if, actually no, stand up if you would like solar panels on your house. Please stand up. Okay, anyone's got a phone out? We're going to be interactive. Get your phones out. I want you to take a little video. I want you to hold up the power station poster that is on your seat, please. I want you to hold it up.
Is this where we take a photo of them?
We're taking a photo, guys. Come on. So, everyone who stood up who would like solar, who does not yet have it. Dan's going to take some photos. And then the professional photographer has jumped into the room. Great timing. Right.
Mine looks terrible.
I love it interactive. This is the great thing.
Oh,
I want
do we have
everyone
any more
to,
posters? There was a box of them earlier, but we seem to have lost the box.
If anyone doesn't have one that needs one, this side of the room.
I would also like to say thank you to
Turn it
Howard
round
Johns from Pop Energy for sponsoring the publication, the printing of these posters.
Thanks, team. Okay, so there's more power station things we're at. So look around you, right? This is how many people would like to do this.
Wow.
And I want everyone to start a really fun chant. Every street a power station. Every street a power station.
Every street.
A power station. Every street a power station. Every street a power station. Every street a power station. We're good at this. I used to be a music teacher.
Yeah.
Can
so
we tell?
amazing, Sarah. Yeah, I was following you there.
There we go. It's really good. Okay, so everyone sit down again. God, this is really fun. Love that we do this. Okay, now stand up again if you think you could be your street champion. That would mean you'd have to knock on everyone's doors, like Dan and Hilary. Who's bold enough to be a street champion in the room? Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, we're going to have some like interaction. We've got some more bold people here. Okay, round of applause for everyone. Okay, I feel like some other bold people. Yes, yes, any more? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, hold up your poster, right? Our street champions are arriving. Quick remark from the room. I'm hoping it's going to be a good one, guys.
Really try and keep it short. So, hi, Dan and Hilary. This is Danielle from Solar for Schools. So I moved to Derby over a year and a half ago. I know nobody in Derby and I know no one on my street until... and it's been a source of contention for me. Like, I hate not being in community, but I've been very afraid to go and knock on doors and start the WhatsApp chat, right? And a few days ago, a house exploded on my street from a gas explosion. And this is awful. And 3 houses have been destroyed. I live 3 doors down. And the only way I think I can make sense of what happened is to use it. Use it as the catalyst that I need to, like, bring people together and start something that wasn't already there. There's community there. I just haven't been there long enough, and it's just under the surface. So I feel I feel quite emotional, actually, because it's been a very emotional week, and I feel really inspired after this film tonight to, like, go back and start something. And I've had an idea. So where the explosion happened, there's a huge gap. They've demolished the houses already with very little care for the stuff. Stuff doesn't matter, though. We all know that, but still. In the space, I'm going to suggest to the council that we hold a concert there, some kind of fundraiser for the people who have lost their homes. And I really hope in doing that, because I need a reason to go and knock on people's doors, right? I don't think I'm ready for solar yet, but that's next, because I work for Solar for Schools, so yeah, that's my story.
Please, just one moment.
Hi, I'm Barry. Hi, Hilary.
Hi, Barry.
Oh, hi.
Hi. So
Hi.
good to see you. The reason I'm here with Danielle and Solar for Schools tonight is because of you guys. Solar for Schools are coming to work in Sheffield. Because of you guys and your inspiration, my street has doubled the number of solar and battery installations in the Green Street project. And all of those who didn't stand up, and those, especially those who did stand up to say, I want this for my street, we want to talk to you because we want to help you do it. And this was the inspiration. Every street should be a power station, and every city and every town should be a power station too. And every school, absolutely. And thank you, Hilary. Thank you, Daniel. I don't think there is an award for the worst documentary maker, but, you know, you should apply.
Thanks, Barry. I appreciate that last comment particularly. Anyway, I do my best. I'm just tagging along with Hilary, basically. It's the truth of it.
Dream project. So Dan, how can people get involved in becoming power stations? What resources and things have you got, and how can they follow along?
Good question, Sarah. We have a kind of, if you go to the QR code that's there is a way of joining our kind of like free membership tier.
No, that's the QR code for the questions.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, fuck it.
What's the website?
Okay, well, there was a QR code earlier that would have worked for that. Oh, yeah, there's one on that pamphlet thing that... Leonie, have you got more of those? Because some people didn't get one, apparently.
Can we also have a big up for Leonie, who's like the power behind the power?
I just want to say to Leonie should really be up here, actually. Come on up here,
Leonie.
Leonie, honestly. Come on. Leonie worked for 3 years with us, pretty much day in, day out on this.
Woo-hoo!
You can sit on here.
Leonie, why don't you do that question? So, Leonie, how do people get involved, Leonie? Website.
I spotted Dan at an event, and I was like, oh, I loved your last film, which was Bank Job, and he was just leaving, and he was like, what? No one's seen our film. And then he was like, what do you do? And I said, I work in archive. And I did, he was like, oh, come and work for one day for us. And that same day that I went up, he was like, here's a camera, come and film. I hadn't really filmed before, didn't turn the mics on, recorded this whole thing, and then ended up, doing a lot of things for the next 3 years.
Because I'm such a bad filmmaker, I don't mind if the mics are on or off, as long as there's enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm is all we need. That's that. No, Leonie is incredible and helps put all of these things together alongside Hilary, all the visual materials going through, liaising with lots of partners. It's very, very impressive what she does. Still, what is the website, Dan?
I think it's the URL is membership.power.film/enroll.
You could just...
And the enroll has to be seen as a very grave thing. It's there's no way out once you're in.
It's just
but
power.film.
Oh yeah, and there is another website, power.film. But I don't know if they can join the...
No, but that should lead everywhere. Sorry, we're all...
We don't know. Yeah. But the thing that I said was definitely correct.
You scan the thing.
The other thing that I'd say, Leonie, honestly, just please have that chair. I feel awkward with you two sharing a chair.
Well,
no, but it's fine. I've got one more thing to say quickly, which is that the mechanism then is that you join our email list. Then if you're interested in doing your school, you can press a button for kind of school, and hopefully we'll funnel them over towards Solar for Schools, that direction. And if they want to do a street, if you want to do a street, then we will basically push you towards probably Howard, or else if you're up in Sheffield, towards Barry, people who we trust to help people begin to organise their street. And we do have, I think, some resources which are just like, these are the steps that we took, but clearly not everyone has to take the same steps, and we're not expecting you guys to also sleep on your roof for 23 nights. However, finance is a problem that we have to overcome, and there have been some innovations, and I think Howard is now getting low interest finance for long term. And I think that's one of the biggest barriers, is the financial one, because with solar panels or even heat pumps or whatever, they are, there's a expense barrier, which is why we tried to raise the money to help install them, arguing that the government should be unleashing vast amounts of cash to do this, because it would be paid back quickly by the sun. So, yeah, we're still not the government. I mean, I did run in the local election recently, but I only got
film,
a couple of hundred votes. So there's no danger of me going into politics.
That would be great. We've got some community questions that have come in. So any more, go on the QR code and I'll raise some hands as well. I love this one though. What was the biggest mistake that you made in this whole project?
Maybe Leonie should talk about that. The audio one.
That key meeting I forgot to record. The biggest mistake.
I suppose we're always like embracing failure and like very publicly making mistakes or going on the wrong route. So it's hard to think of like a major mistake. I mean, there's just like, not regrets, but like we get to the end of 5 years and a film and you're like, damn it, it still like feels like, why haven't we got the whole street? Like we need the borough, like we want to do a community-wide, but that we're getting blocked at every. So it does feel that there's just frustrations, but it's not really. It's just multiple issues to surmount and tackle. But can you think of some specific mistakes?
No, I don't really think of the mistakes, but that's probably the way we think, is more like we're designing a big challenge for ourselves. Then the challenge is to try and live up to that, for as long as the film camera's rolling at least. But then with this, we can't just switch it off now, because it has got some momentum and we want it to keep growing and building. So I think that, the various failures that we've recorded, which you've seen in the film, and there are many more that probably didn't even make the film, they're all like our best teachers, and so our real goal is to grow, because all films are about characters that need to grow, and I think that's what human beings and animals, we're always learning and growing, and that will never end, hopefully. So I think the only real failure would be if we sort of walked away kind of and gave up. So we haven't given up.
I think it's your perseverance, which is one of the most compelling parts of this film. I don't think there are any mistakes. Every time you felt like a low, and there was lows, it's like, we're just going to do something else. Like, come on. It's like life is not a simple, we're going to make it happen on day one. And I think it's really important for everyone who then is going to become a street champion. Stand up again, our street champions, who are now new street champions. You stood up before. You stood up before. And again.
That's so good to see all of these street champions. Because we will run, like maybe once a month, we can do a Zoom call, and then you can unload all the problems that you're having onto us, and we'll help pick you up. And Leonie will do that bit.
Leonie will do that bit.
The agony on.
Street champions, can you just shout out where you live? Are you all from Sheffield?
Oh.
Whoa, this is great. Okay, you. Where are you from? Glasgow.
Oh, cool.
Leeds. Derby. We're in.
Oh.
Bristol. London. Sheffield. So I didn't hear that, Lucy. Alton, Hampshire. Sheffield. Okay. Hull. Anyone else? Right, that's at least, I didn't count. That's at least 8 cities, right? Was that 8? 7 or 8? Okay, so in one room, we've potentially got 8 new cities who are going to take part. If each of you go home and try and find one person that you know that can be a street champion, one neighbour that might consider doing solar, there's 8 cities we can already get around this campaign from one screening. At every screening, if we have one new street champion, this concept, how mad it is, can happen. And the thing that you have to remember is it will go down and it will feel sad and stressful and something will go wrong. But you have to now think like Dan and Hilary every day that it will get better and you will get there if you work as a community together. There's one question. You may now sit down, street champions. Thank you. There's one note here from Anonymous, which I want us to sort of end on before any final comments. But I think this is very important. If Anonymous feels proud enough to stand up, I'd be really grateful, but you can also keep sitting down if you want to. I work at the National Grid, says Anonymous. I promise you that people there have nothing against solar, but they don't understand the human value of what you are doing. What is the most important thing that I can tell them in the office on Monday to change their minds? Is Anonymous, does they feel confident to stand up? They don't have to, they don't want to. Okay, Anonymous is still Anonymous. How do we convince the National Grid the human value of what we're trying to do here and how important it is?
That's the only one. Go on, Leonie, get on. You can do that.
I think you, need to feel like you have the power to change things, and it isn't too late. And maybe it starts with talking to your other colleagues in the staff room and finding allies that you work with and thinking about how you start to have that conversation, and then sharing material. We have a lot of material you can share, but I think it's about feeling like you also have a community in where you work and that you can change it through.
I don't know, because we were researching a bit about the, that civic pride in the beginnings of electricity undertakings, like when local councils like Walthamstow was like so proud to get electricity, and there were showrooms, and how we've got more, I suppose all of us, more distance from what we consume, and that part of this is about reconnecting with like all of our power and understanding where it comes from. So it's like an education piece as well. But
we did a lot of research into like the streets used to have their own currency, like energy currency, and the different power stations that used to work and operate in the different boroughs, and I think a lot of people are like, they don't really know that history.
Yeah.
Love that. How much time do we have left? Okay, great. There's some very funny comments on here I'm going to end with, but does anybody have a question they want the mic for? Anyone want to ask a question publicly? Okay, that was a quick hand. Middle there, hand up. Yeah.
Hello. Love the film. I'm an E17 local as well, so hello, Walthamstow. So I just wanted to ask about the editing. I love the editing style, kind of chaotic, off-piste vibes. Was that always your vision, or did you let the content lead with that?
I think this is a good moment to to say thank you to both Alice Powell and Natalie Sloan, if they could both stand up, because those two edited this film. And both of them are brilliant, completely brilliant. And look at each other so that you know who you are, so you can go for a drink later. Because they've never actually met in the real world yet. So this is the first time, apart from on Zoom, I think. Anyway, so Alice started the edit and probably worked on it, I can't remember, maybe for 3 months or something, until we ran into one of our inevitable collisions with reality and completely ran out of money and were unable to keep the edit going at that point. So then we had maybe 3 to 6 months of turmoil, which you may or may not have seen. I can't remember if that was in there. But then we got Natalie to come in, and she'd been filming and editing, for instance, the Bread and Roses part, and pretty much all the shorts that we did all the way along, and lives on the street as well, and she took over with the edit, and so you get this kind of I think that there are 2 editing styles in the film, because there are 2 editors, and for me personally. I don't know about what Hilary feels, but editing for me is something that I love to just give to other people to do. There's enough things in the world, that are in my mind. So it's those 2 really. And I think there is a sort of, there's a mixture between a very kind of structured, I think, start to the edit. Not that there was a lack of structure in any way, Natalie, when you came in, but there's an energy and a kind of beauty and a bit of a kind of offbeatness maybe that you bring to the edit, and there is a bit of chaos in there as well. I mean, the actual project has chaos in it, so that's just reflected within the clips, So yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, we actually hadn't seen that film that you guys have just seen tonight fully all the way through. None of us had. And there are various different notes that we now have and things that we want to change. Because of the chaos of like trying to finish that film in time for this festival. Because it was like rushing a painting to the gallery while it's still wet type of thing. So yeah, like there was this chaotic, what's that song, that Ride of the Valkyries? That was so intense. And it was like, they cranked it up to about 15, you know, and we couldn't hear anything of the dialogue.
Anyway.
So that's how we edit. It's
The power of a world premiere, to stress out. Do you have time for one more? One more. So you have to be a really good question. Last person. I love how you went down again then. Are you sure? Let's do it. Have faith.
That's right.
Believe in
I'll
yourself.
try. Well, first, thank you for making a climate film that is both fun and funny, because there aren't enough of those. My question was about, in the film, you don't dwell on all the barriers that you face with council, contractors. They're obviously standing in your way. So my question is, if you could get one person or one organisation or one barrier to move out the way, what would it be so we can all move that barrier together?
Well, what?
That's one for Leonie. Well, like the big domino, if you like. If we could just like bypass or do one thing to change what the way that to basically remove the biggest block. Is that what you mean towards doing this at scale? So I personally think the biggest block is the finance block. Councils are, you know, we all know like most councils across Britain are really struggling now. You've got Birmingham and went bankrupt, and there are quite a few others. Waltham Forest, I think, is a struggling council, so they're desperately trying to like, you know, make money out of every little asset that they have. So that's why they're blocking renewable energy co-ops. So fund the councils properly. That's a start, because then they wouldn't be such twats, you know, I think. Because they're just being like that because they have to be. You know, it's a structural problem that's causing them to then behave the way they are. So there's that one. And then I think finance, basically, and there's an idea from another organisation that's kind of trying to do the same thing, which is called Net Zero Terraces, where they, instead of putting the debt on the household or on the people in the house, they're trying to put debt on the building itself and make a long-term debt on that. So the people who live in the house, if they decide to move from the house, they're not in debt for those assets. That strikes me as a really innovative financial system to implement. And why can't we get like a load of patient capital injected into that? You know, because I think the finance is the biggest obstacle for everyone. Then you've also got tenureship, of course, because if people are renting their house, they can't control their roof. That's a real big problem, which we were unable to resolve ourselves. Sorry, it's I don't know why it's coming for me.
Fly is very eager. That was a good question. Well done. That's a fine question. Okay, before we wrap, I'm going to have 2 quick fire questions for you to finish. But before we wrap up, everyone concentrate. Outside, there is a Sheffield Dockfest branded wall. I want every person, and we have time, to go and take a photo with your power station poster. We're concentrating. By the wall. If it's too long to wait, you can just do it with any wall, but there is a branded wall there. And then everyone's going to go onto Instagram. Phones out, please. This is like participation. Phones out, please, right? And you're going to go onto Instagram. Everyone's on Instagram. Yeah. And we're going to search for power.film.art. It's an arty title for the film. And you're going to post your selfie of you with your power station poster, and you're going to tag power.film.art. Did that make sense for everybody? Yes. And then when your friends say, why are you hosting a thing that says power station? It's a conversation starter. And you have to explain to them, what is a power station, or why should we become a power station? And what was this crazy film you just watched today? Does everybody understand the mission? You have to say, it's like a school teacher moment. Does everybody understand the mission? Yes. Okay, my final 2 quick-fire questions, because they're really funny. 4 people asked, was the bed comfy?
No.
No?
Well,
Okay.
no.
It's a quick-fire
Just a
round.
quick
It was
And
snug.
then
It was
the
snug.
final question, someone asked, love this one. Hilary, was Dan already like this on your first date?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you,
I
everybody.
hope you mean patient, by the way.
There are more posters as well we can give to people.
If you don't have a poster, come and find Leonie. She's the poster queen. Thank you.